everyone, welcome to Wing Papercrafting. My name is Angel Fitch. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. I'm so glad you've all decided to join me today. And welcome to Template Tuesday. We're going to do these two templates this week. So this one is going to be our basic template. So we've got standard card base, we've got one piece of pattern paper, and a second piece of pattern paper with this cardstock mat in there, and then just a place for our sentiment. So it's a pretty easy one, and honestly this one's pretty easy too. I'm considering this one our fun fold for the week, even though it's really pretty simple and may not technically qualify for as a fun fold, but I needed an easy button this week, so we're using this one. Got a card base, we've got a piece of cardstock here. This is a piece of pattern paper that we're going to actually cut kind of down the middle here and then fold these two edges back so that whatever's on the back side of your pattern paper is then going to show on the front. So when you go to pick your pattern paper for the top layer here, you need to make sure that what's on the back matches what's on the front pretty well, because you're going to flip that over and it's both are going to show at the same time. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with our basic one first. So I'm going to open this up because our little recipe is in the inside here. So we've got a card base that's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to give this a good burnish so it lays nice and flat. And then I've got a piece of cardstock for the inside that's 4 by 5 1/4. We have another piece of cardstock that's 2 3/4 by 5.5. And we've got one piece of pattern paper that's 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So this is going to go here, and it's going to give us a very little border around the outside. And our second piece of pattern paper, which could be the same as this one, but also could be different, is 2.5 by 5.5. And then just some kind of piece for your sentiment, depending on what your sentiment is and what shape you would like that to be in. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to get this first layer of pattern paper down. So I'm going to just put some glue on this. And we're going to take this and just center this up on our card base here. So like I said, this is cut so that it gives you a very tiny border all the way around. So let's move this. I need to move this down a little bit. It's too far toward the top. Oh my goodness. All right, let's try this again. Let's put this down a little closer to the bottom. There we go. That works. Except it's still crooked. Hang on. I feel like I'm crooked today. Does anybody else ever have that problem? You feel like you're crooked. Especially when it comes to putting paper down. There we go. Finally. All right, so there's our first layer. Now, we're going to take our second piece of pattern paper, and we're going to put some glue on this, and then we're going to put it onto our mat. So we'll center this up. Let's see, let's wiggle this around. So just something kind of like that. Looks pretty good. Okay, so we'll give that a good push. And then this just goes down the front. So this one is really simple. But I think it's going to be very cute once we get cards made out of it, which we will do tomorrow with this one. Okay, so I'm just going to center that. So I want the same space left and right of this. And that looks pretty good. So we'll give that a good press down. And then this, after we stamp on it, we would then just adhere this to the front. And I just put mine down here at the bottom. I mean, honestly, you could put it anywhere that you wanted. But we're going to use the Cute as a Bug paper when we make cards out of this tomorrow. And I was envisioning having, you know, a bug sit here on top of this. So we shall see. And then let's get the inside down, and this one will be done. I think I'm going to have to dig out some more liquid glue sooner than later. All right, so let me open this up, and we're just going to center this up in here. Something like that. And that will be all she wrote for this one. So pretty simple. All right, let's move on to our second one. So this is going to be our fun fold for the week. And let's get this opened up here so we have our directions. So I've got a card base that's 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. We're going to give this a good burnish. I have a piece of our first piece of cardstock, which is 4 by 5 1/4. It's going to go on the inside. And then our second piece of cardstock, which I believe is this one. Let's see. Let's make sure I tell you right. So that's 4 by 5 1/4. So that's the inside one. This one is the outside here. So this one is, this one is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So once again, I'm not sure that looks like the right size paper. And I don't really think that is. So let's just cut a new one, because I think that is the wrong size. So real quick, we'll cut a fresh piece here. So I need it to be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So let's do right here is 3 7/8. So we'll cut that, and then we've got by 5 1/8. So right there, and that gives us the size that we need. Okay, so basically this is going to be the same as the other one. It's going to give us a very, and that does not work. Oh my goodness, did I pick up the wrong one? I think I did. There we go. Okay, all right. I want this to be a little bigger. I don't understand. What am I doing wrong? Oh my goodness. Maybe it wasn't. All right, so we need 3 7/8. So that's going to be right 5, 6, 7, wait, 4, 5, 6, 7. Making sure that I'm doing this right. So there's 3 7/8. Is that right? Should be. And you know what? I don't think that's right. And that's my problem, is I'll have to fix that. So we need this to be 4. So this is 4 1/4. Oh, that needs to be 4 1/8. That's the problem. I knew there was something wrong. I just couldn't figure out what it is. Let me just make this correction. So 4 1/8 by 5 1/4. So 4 1/8, that would be, so that would be 1/8 down from our 4 1/4, and 5 1/2, so 5 and, so 5 1/2, and we want to make it 1/8 less, right? Math, not my strong point, just so you guys know. 1, 2, 3, so 5 and 3/8. There we go. Boy, I was totally off on that. All right, there we go. All right, so we need 4 1/8. I knew it wasn't wide enough. I just couldn't figure out why it wasn't wide enough. Okay, so we got 4 1/8, and we're going to do 5 3/8. So 1, 2, 3/8 would be right there. Okay, now I think we're in business. Oh my goodness. Much better. That's exactly what we want. All right, because we want this to cover the majority of the front of our card. So there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and get this down. I do not do math well on the fly. Just saying. All right, so I'm going to get this down. Just like that. That's perfect. Now we've got just our tiniest little of a border, which is exactly what we wanted. All right, so we're going to cut that, or push that down. Now we've got a piece for the inside that's 4 by 5 1/4, so that's the right size. Let's go ahead and get it on the inside. Okay, so we're going to center that up on in here. And then we know that that's correct. All right, next piece. Okay, now let's work on our, I've got this that I'm going to use for our sentiment piece on this one. Not really our sentiment piece, for our focal point. You just need something that's going to cover up that place. And these were sitting on my desk, which is why I used them. But you can put whatever you want there. So let's work on this piece. So basically what we're going to do is we need to turn this way. And this piece is 5, what did we say this is? 5 1/8, right? So we need to find the halfway point. So that's about 2 1/16, basically, is the halfway point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to just, well, wait a minute. Let's do this first. When I did this before, when I was practicing, I cut first one time, but I didn't like the way it turned out. So I'm going to score first. So basically, turn it on a diagonal, put both of your points in the channel, the cutting channel. But we're actually, so I'm going to line this up all the way at the top. And we're going to take our scoring blade, and we're going to score from this corner down to about, I'm going to go to the 2.5, and we will adjust if we need to. So about 2.5 down that way. Okay, so there's that side. It looks like we'll need to adjust maybe a little bit, but we're going to turn this around and rotate this, and we're going to do this from the same thing from this corner. So we're going to try to meet in the middle here with our first score line. So I'm going to put both points in the cutting channel. Make sure that this one's all the way at the top. And then I'm going to take the scoring blade and start at the top and go down to 2.5. I think we'll need to adjust just a bit here, but let's see. Okay, so we're about right here. So we have just a little bit further to go. So let's put this back here in the cutting channel. And I think we can probably go down to about, I'm going to take it to 2 3/4. I'm going to flip this around the other way. And we're going to extend this one. So I'm going to line that back up. And we're going to go down to about 2 3/4. Okay, now let's see where we are. Okay, so we're getting closer. So, okay, now we're not quite there, but what we're going to do is we're going to, again, find the halfway point. So it's 5 and, what did I say it was? 5 1/8. So we need 2 and, let's see, just the one tick mark over 2.5 is going to be our halfway point. So I'm going to put this down, and I can kind of eyeball through here where I think this is going to meet. So I'm going to go to about 1 3/4, and we're going to just cut just right to 1 3/4, and then we'll take a look and see where we are. Okay, so that's perfect. That's right there. Not bad at all. All right. So we just have to finish scoring just the littlest bit here to get to our cut line. So let me get that blade out of the way. And we're going to bring this down here. So basically it's 3. We need to bring it down to just about 3, right? So now just let me finish this one down to 3. And we will have our perfect. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to take this side and fold this back along our score line, and we're going to take this one and score it back this way, and use your bone folder to give this a good press there, because we want these to lay as flat as possible. Okay, now we're going to take this and put this on the front of our card. So I'm going to take glue and glue this up here. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to put this to the left-hand side, just kind of like the normal border that you would leave if we were looking all the way around. So basically we want the top border and this left-hand border and the bottom border to match. So I'm going to press this down, and then we are going to take a mini glue dot. And where are my mini glue dots? I just had them a little bit ago. And you know they're here, and I'm just looking at them. Oh my goodness, where are they? Ah, here they are. Okay, so we're going to take a mini glue dot, and we are going to take this. I'm just going to slide it right under here. Maybe. Oh my goodness, we don't want that. All right, we've got glue dot. Here we go. And I'm going to push this down to pick up that glue dot. And then push it down. There we go. So that's going to hold that down. Let's see where the next one is. I'm going to tear that off and do the same thing. I'm going to stick it under there, push down. Well, it helps if I got it all the way under there. Okay, push that down. We'll lift that up, peel away our paper, and push that down, and that will be good, except we have one on the top, so let me peel that off. Okay, there we go. All right, so that's going to tack our corners down so that they're going to stay where we want them. And it looks like we need just a tad bit more glue right up here in the corner. So I'm just going to put just the tiniest bit under there so we can get that corner to lay flat. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so that's going to hold our corner down. And then we're going to take our sentiment, or not our sentiment piece, because our sentiment is actually going to go here. We're going to stamp right in here when we go to make cards. But this is going to be, we're going to use to just cover up that place in the middle where our, and that is just not going to stick. That is so funny. Let's try to get another glue dot here. I'll peel it off this way. Put that on there. We just need that to stick. There we go. So we just want to cover up our little piece here in the middle where our things came together. So you could use a cardstock piece. You could use pattern paper. What we're going to do probably is cut one of the bugs out of the cutest bug paper, and we're going to put that right in the middle. So anything that's just going to cover up where that comes together there so that it looks more finished. And that's all there is to that. So, cool. All right, so here are our two cards that we made for today, our basic card and our fun fold card. We're going to make cards out of this tomorrow and this one on Friday. So I hope to see you all back then. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. And I will see you all tomorrow. Have a crafty evening. Bye.